So what if you could start training today for the person you want to be when you're 90? And I'm not just talking about adding more years to your life, but making sure those years are awesome, vibrant, active, and full of joy. That's the whole idea behind the Centenarian Decathlon, this really powerful concept from longevity expert Dr. Peter Attia. And today, we're going to break it all down.
Just take a second and really picture it. You're looking at that last decade of your life, what he calls your marginal decade. What do you want to be able to do? This isn't just some daydream. It's actually an engineering problem. And believe it or not, the solution starts right now, today.
Okay, this right here, this slide highlights the single most important distinction in this entire conversation. Lifespan? That's just a number. It's how many years you're alive. But health span? That's the real prize. That's how many of those years you're actually healthy, feeling good, and able to do the things you love. It is the difference between just existing and truly living.
To really maximize that health span, we have to completely flip our mindset. We can't just sit around and wait to react to problems as they pop up. We have to become the architects of our own future, designing the life we actually want to live decades from now.
Think about our current medical system, what Dr. Attia calls Medicine 2.0. It's incredible, truly a miracle, at handling acute problems, saving you after a bad accident. That's what he calls fast death. But it's way, way less effective against the slow death diseases that get most of us in the end. Things like heart disease, cancer, and Alzheimer's. To fight those, we need a totally different game plan.
And this quote from JFK just nails the essence of that new approach, which Attia calls Medicine 3.0. It's all about being proactive. You don't wait until the roof is leaking in a storm to fix it, right? You don't wait for a diagnosis of prediabetes to start thinking about your metabolic health. You start building a strong, resilient body, a body that can handle the challenges of aging decades in advance while you're still healthy.
So if we're going to be proactive, what's our target? What are we actually training for? And that brings us to the core idea of this whole explainer, the Centenarian Decathlon.
This becomes your personal North Star. You literally reverse engineer your health from the future. You start by clearly defining the physical things you want to be able to do in your 90s, and then you work backwards to figure out what you need to be able to do today, in your 50s, in your 30s, to make sure you get there. It's brilliant.
And look, these goals aren't some abstract fitness numbers, like how much you can bench press. No way. They are real, tangible, functional tasks that directly translate to your quality of life. Things like being able to pick up your grandchild, or hoist your own suitcase into an overhead bin without help, or carry your own groceries. These are the real events you're training for.
This quote from Sun Tzu just captures the philosophy perfectly. Just going to the gym and doing a bunch of random exercises, that's tactics without strategy. It's just noise. To actually win, you need to have a clear goal first. You need a strategy.
And this is the key connection. The Centenarian Decathlon, that list of 10 things you want to be able to do, that is your strategy. That's your why. And then everything you do in the gym, with your nutrition, with your sleep, those are the tactics you use to make that strategy a reality. It gives every single workout a purpose.
Okay, so you've got your strategy. What about the tactics? What does the training actually look like day to day?
Let's be absolutely crystal clear on this one. Of all the things we can do, exercise is, hands down, the most powerful longevity drug on the planet. There's no pill, there's no supplement that even comes close to what a smart, consistent training program can do for you.
And your training should really be built on these 4 pillars. Strength is the absolute foundation. Stability is all about being able to control your body through space and prevent injury. Aerobic efficiency, what people often call Zone 2 cardio, is your ability to just go and go at a steady pace. And finally, peak aerobic capacity, or VO2 max. That's your all-out engine, and it's a shockingly powerful predictor of how long you'll live. You really need to train all 4 to be bulletproof.
And of all those pillars, you could argue strength is the most important. As we see here, muscle really is the organ of longevity. Why? Well, for one, it's like a metabolic sponge that just soaks up extra blood sugar, and lifting heavy things is the single best thing you can do to maintain your bone density, which protects you from that catastrophic fall that can so tragically rob an older person of their independence.
But is being physically strong and fit the entire picture? Not even close. A truly complete strategy for a long, happy life goes way, way beyond just the physical body. To really do this right, you have to look at all 4 of these domains. You just can't out-train a terrible diet. You can't out-eat chronic sleep deprivation. And you can't ignore your emotional well-being. They're all pieces of the exact same puzzle, and they all affect each other.
And this is a really profound insight. Think about it.
While our physical bodies and even our cognitive sharpness will inevitably decline a bit with age, our emotional health doesn't have to. In fact, our capacity for joy, for connection, for wisdom, that can and it should get better over time. This is such a crucial and often forgotten part of a truly well-lived life.
And this quote just brings it all home. Dr. Attia is incredibly open about his own struggles in this area, and his point is so important. What's the point of having a healthy body at 95 if you're miserable and alone? The ultimate goal here isn't just a long life. It's a life that is deep and meaningful and full of connection.
So we've covered the why, we've covered the how. Now the spotlight turns to you. How do you actually get started on this journey?
You know, it is so easy to hear all this and think, oh man, it's too late for me. I should have started 20 years ago. But that's just not true. Whether you're 25 or 65, the principles are exactly the same. Every single workout, every healthy meal, it's an investment you're making in your future self, the person who's going to be crushing those decathlon events decades from now.
So this is your homework, and I'm serious. Take some real time to think about this. Be specific. What movements, what activities, what joys do you want to be fully capable of in your final decade? Write them down, because that is the very first step to creating your own personal strategy for an amazing life.
And in the end, this is the ultimate goal, isn't it? To die young, at a very, very old age. It means you keep your vitality, your function, your spark, for as long as humanly possible. It means you compress all the sickness and decline into the shortest possible window at the very, very end of a long and truly well-lived life.